So that was the one we were talking about, that vertical gear effect, right?
Yeah.
A little high on the face killed the spin. Low on the face is going to add spin, right? So slightly above the equator, you're going to have some of your better launch characteristics, typically speaking.
Hey everybody, we're back. Brad Sislo here at Club Champion with mustache Mitch Schneider.
Thanks,
over
Brad.
here. How you doing, buddy?
Appreciate it. Doing well. How about yourself?
Very good. Very good this morning.
Good.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about something we get asked a lot about, which is how do you pick the right driver loft? And
Good
something
question.
I think in today's world is pretty tough, wouldn't you say, Mitch?
Yeah, no, it's absolutely paramount to the ball flight. So
Yeah.
got to get that right, and it takes some tinkering and some fine tuning to get there.
What kind of pants you wearing today?
Some Lululemon.
Some Lulus.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, hey, it's the everyday pant, man.
Yeah, the ABCs.
Yeah. The ABCs.
All right.
Yeah.
And not every pair of pants fits the same, right? They all fit a little different.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you say that's true with driver loft?
Absolutely. I mean, and hey, your pant size might change over the year too, right? Or over the years. And I've changed my swing recently and changed my loft because of it, and
Yeah.
got a much better ball flight, more distance, more consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or after Thanksgiving.
Well, that too. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's important for everyone out there to kind of understand a little bit about, our process and how we fit. And I think one of the biggest things is that today when we're experimenting with different driver lofts with Mitch, that we're going to keep everything the same. So we're going to be looking at the same shaft, the same swing weight, same length, same settings, everything being the same, but really kind of dialing him in for loft. And Mitch is a pretty strong player, so he's got a lot of speed. But we're going to talk a little bit about what happens to the other players, the players that maybe are playing a senior flex or a regular flex, or even the monsters of the world that have a little extra gear that you don't have, Mitch.
Oh, I don't have much
Yeah.
of an extra gear here.
So what loft you got there?
So this one, I've got an 8 degree right now, set at neutral standard, Paradigm AI Smoke Triple Diamond. So really, really solid head, lower spinning side of things.
Yep.
So I'm also rocking the Diamana Blue Board
Now,
63X.
That shaft is your gamer shaft, right? That's
It
kind of
is.
what you play.
It's the new version of my gamer shaft.
Sure.
Yep.
And then from a loft perspective, would you say this is more or less loft than you normally play?
Less.
Less loft?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
And we won't get into what, brand of driver gamer you're playing, but it's less loft than what you're playing.
It is.
And I think it's important that, in today's world, every manufacturer out there has many different driver heads, right? They're designed to do different things, whether it be, a low spin model, that core model that fits just about everybody.
Right.
Maybe there's a draw model, maybe there's a lighter weight head, things like that.
Yep.
So today, because you're, a scratch golfer, we're going to test you in Callaway Triple Diamond, the smoke model. We'll start with the 8. Let's get a few swings and kind of see what's going on here.
Yeah.
But I want you to keep in mind, and I think this is something for the viewers that are watching, right, is that this may not be the normal loft you play, but I want Mitch 1.0 no matter what head I give you today.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to help this in the air. We'll see if I can get it off the ground or not. It's less loft than I normally play.
Yeah.
See how it goes.
So this is kind of the second half of our fitting. We've already done the shaft fitting.
Yep.
And now we're kind of moving on to the head portion of it, right? We tested our shafts. We found the shaft that gave us the best contact, best ball speed, best smash factor. But now we're going to be looking at more of the heads. And really the head controls that up, down, left, right.
Absolutely.
In what's going on. So let's see a few swings here.
Okay, so my miss is left. So even though that's really far right, everybody, I'm happy to see that.
You're
I
happy
just
to
don't want
see
to see
that,
a
yeah.
duck hook left.
Pretty solid smash there on that one, too.
Thank you.
Now, that's about as much left as you want to see that ball move, right, Mitch?
Yeah. I mean, that's the typical kind of miss. I didn't overly flip it, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
When I flip, it'll come out a little bit low, but you can kind of just see from the height, the landing angle, the spin rate being below 2,000 there that it's probably not going to be the right loft for me.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think, for all of our fitters, we're looking at, for the most part, 9 numbers, no matter where you're getting fit in the world,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we're looking at those common things of, you know, club head speed, ball speed, smash factor. You know, that's really kind of honing on the strike, the shaft performance.
Right.
But then we're looking at trajectory, right? And there's only
Mm-hmm.
two ways to max out your distance. It's ball speed and trajectory. It's a
Yeah.
projectile.
Absolutely.
So we have to look at launch, we have to look at spin, but I love what you said about looking at maybe the peak height and
Yeah.
how that sucker's falling out of the sky.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and we're seeing numbers that are pretty low in the low 30s, right?
Mhm.
And I know a lot of the viewers out there, they probably think they're going to get a lot more distance off the ground,
Yeah.
but ground is friction.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
don't want to lose. You don't want to lose distance with friction on the ground. You also don't want to lose it with friction in the air
Right.
either. There's more friction on the ground, right? But for everybody at home, I think it's really important to note if you're wondering, like, oh, what should my spin rate be? What should my launch be? Well, it's really determined off of your ball speed, right? We have to have the right ball speed to create the trajectory, that peak height that we want from our launch and our spin numbers. So to simplify it for everybody, there's a typical kind of sweet spot that I'm looking for in a fitting based off a customer's goals. But if you want to just look at home and, hey, you got TrackMan or you have access to these numbers, look for something between 34 and 38 degrees for your landing angle, because that's ball speed, launch, spin, which is going to result in your peak height and subsequently that landing angle. So it's a really good way to simplify it. Am I being optimal with my data, with my numbers, my ball flight data? Get somewhere between 34 and 38 degrees in that land angle, and you're doing a good job.
So Mitch, I'm gonna have you do something I don't want anybody in a fitting to do.
Change my
And
swing.
Is swing for numbers and play a video
Okay.
game. So
All right.
I just want you to kind of try. You know, this might be, you look down at the driver, you don't see a lot of loft, right?
Okay.
And so you want to help it, right? And I just want to kind of see what happens here. And this is not something we'd ever want in a fitting, because
No.
I want you to do you.
Yeah.
You know, in the worlds of Arnie, you know, swing your swing.
Yeah.
So
But sometimes we see it. And
Yeah.
We've got to be able to identify when we see that.
don't
right?
don't swing your swing this one.
Don't swing my swing. I'm going to try to help this one up. Let's see if I
Exactly.
can get some height on it. In a perfect world, would cut too, but we'll see.
Higher launch immediately.
Much.
Skyrocket in flight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably not going to get much roll on that one.
No, not too much roll.
Yeah.
It maxed out the carry though.
Yeah, max out
Right?
the carry pretty nice. Yeah.
Well, you see
Yeah.
that landing angle shooting up to 46 degrees. Well,
Right.
the launch was fine when I had my typical spin rate numbers, but man, my spin rate jumped up.
I'd hate for you to hit a wedge on the next swing.
Oh God.
You
Yeah.
might belly that one.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think what we should do next is I'm going to put something in your hands,
Okay.
a different, the same model brand head,
Yep.
and I'm not going to show you the loft.
Okay.
And then I want you to go back to Mitch 1.0 and,
Okay.
and just do you. All right, Mitch, different head here, a little bit more loft.
Right.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's give it a shot.
You hit that on the screws, I bet.
I did. Yeah, that was pretty solid.
Sound is feel. Ball speed jumped up a ton there. You didn't rev up the engine anymore speed-wise in terms
No.
of the golf swing.
Yeah.
But, you know, the ball speed went up a little bit, and that landing angle's in that, like, perfect, you know, zone that you like to see. You know your numbers pretty well.
Yeah.
So at 35 degrees of landing angle, you're maxing out your carry, you're maxing out your roll there. I love everything I see on that one.
Yeah, well, likewise. What really impressed me there was that felt like my low miss. And it wasn't outside of that range that we talked about, that 34 to 38 that I like to look for personally. And so
Yeah, that's not too shabby right there. That's
no,
pretty,
no,
that's pretty,
I'll
that's
take
pretty good.
almost everything's in the blue. A little bit better height, a little higher launch would have been great, but
We could play golf with that if it fell maybe
yeah, we'll
2
talk-
yards to the right of the line
Yeah.
better, but
Yeah, but
let's do another. That ball speed came down a little bit there,
It did.
went a little bit higher. I know that's
Yep.
kind of, but you know, when you look at that one from a carry, you know, number, that was right on top of the previous.
Exactly.
So,
Hit the previous one a lot better, right? Trapped it a little bit. This one kind of left it open. Okay, landing angle goes up to 40, luckily with a little bit lower spin. And so I'm still getting the same kind of carry. I lost a little bit out on total.
yeah.
Right? So it's art of a good fit's eliminating the misses, right? Or making those misses closer to your good shots. And that was clearly a miss, but the carry distance, and we're looking at total here, not much different at all.
No, and when we do look at the carry, you know, you're still right there. And I think it's important to note that is when you play golf with a little bit more loft, right?
Yeah.
I guess people who throttle down and they hit the 3-wood, they feel like they're gonna find the fairway more because there's more loft. The ball's not gonna
Right.
curve as much.
Right.
In your case, when you're playing a solid degree, maybe more or less loft than what you currently play, you're gonna see that ball kind of slide a little bit
Yeah,
more.
you're gonna see a little more spread.
Yeah. Good swing there.
There we go. So that was the one we were talking about, that vertical gear effect, right?
Yeah.
A little high on the face killed the spin. Low on the face is going to add spin, right? So slightly above the equator, you're going to have some of your better launch characteristics, typically speaking.
Yeah.
And that was one of them, right? Slight miss. We can see it in the smash factor. It didn't hit it on the screws. But even though the spin dropped down a lot less than what I would typically be looking for, landing angle was still pretty close to 34.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I lost a little bit on my carry, but my total still stayed up there at about 310.
And then that's what you want to see when you miss it. I know you said
Yeah.
you kind of want to see that ball fall right. I mean, that one maybe started a smidge right at the center line and kind of fell right, but that's kind of ideally what you like to see.
It is, yeah. What I've been working on this year is eliminating left. So that's the byproduct of me not practicing enough with having a 6-month-old baby at home.
That was crushed.
It was crushed.
Yeah.
A little low.
Yeah, a little flat. And I remember when I first hit this head, it definitely was noticeable of a lower flat.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting. I won't mention what driver I'm hitting right now, but it has different spin and ball flight characteristics, and I'm pretty sure this is the same loft that I've been playing. I haven't looked at the screen or anything, but looking down at it, it looks pretty similar.
Yeah.
But I'm getting a lot different spin characteristics, and I'm missing my window of that 34 to 38 that I'm looking for.
Good swing, good ball speed numbers there.
That's more like it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it gets a little scary when you see that spin below 2,000. We start to see a lot of movement on the ball.
Yeah.
It's exaggerated a little bit, but let's do a couple more.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yep. A little right.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is like you like to see the ball do that.
I do.
And that's important to know. And, when you look at, just kind of real quickly looking at some of those numbers, it's interesting. The heads do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
That 8 degree definitely had a lower peak height and a kind of a flatter run out than all of them. And of course, the one with the most loft had the most height and kind of that sweet spot. And I know you typically like to play your clubs, maybe obviously not looking left or closed.
Right. Yeah.
So, having them open a little bit. And I think that, in this case here, you would definitely be that player that goes up in loft, and I think you gain a bunch of things. I think you gain a little bit of a tighter grouping.
Absolutely.
You actually max out your most carry with the one with more loft.
When we look at these numbers up on the screen, I had to gain a little over 2 miles an hour of ball speed, almost 2.5 miles an hour of ball speed to get the not even quite the same amount of carry when I had a better trajectory.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I hit a couple of them better there, but didn't really get much more out of that effort. Just because the ball flight wasn't correct.
Yeah, pretty cool. I definitely would recommend the more loft for you.
I agree with that.
And I would recommend everyone watching that when you're doing your fittings and you come into Club Champion, our kind of process, this is that kind of middle part where we're looking at trajectory, really dialing in that max carry, max roll, really more with the head. Mitch loves that golf shaft. It allows him to find the center of the face. He really gets, great compression, maxes out the smash factor. So we love that part of it, is really kind of dialing in with the head. I hear all too many times that players are really looking to dial in their trajectory maybe by changing the shaft. And, by all means, I'm probably not going to give Mitch, an 8-degree driver head with a higher launching shaft. He fits very well into that weight and profile of that Diamante blue board that he's currently been playing. So I highly recommend next time you come into Club Champion, make sure that you're dialing in the part of the fit when you're looking at trajectory, really more so with the head. All too many times we see players, thinking they need maybe a higher launching shaft, by all means, the Diamante Blue board worked great for Mitch. We want to make sure that that shaft stays constant, but we can start to dial in that trajectory, that landing angle more so with the head. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.